Welcome to the College Football Halftime Show presented by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live mas. I'm Aaron Sharoni here with Brady Quinn. He knows a thing or two about football, and we're going to talk about it because there's a lot of it on tap today. Let's start with some of the big games in play. Florida, Alabama, tied 21 right now. It's been pretty good, right?
It has been. It's been a sloppy game. A lot of turnovers, a lot of things going back and forth, but it's gave the opportunity to see a lot of big plays as well.
Absolutely. We're going to take a look at some of those big plays because we have highlights for you guys. Let's check it out. Got a packed house here. Everybody clearly loves football in Alabama. Starting off with a Blake Sims 87-yard touchdown pass to Kenyon Drake. Bama starts off 7-0.
Amari Cooper gets most of the attention, but Kenyon Drake here is the one that delivers.
Yep. Nice start for them. All right, now Blake Sims fumbled, and a few plays after that, Jeff Driscoll makes a 28-yard touchdown pass to Valdez Showers. 7-7 even.
One of his 5 completions on the day, but that one mattered the most.
Here's another turnover. DeAndrew White fumbles. Keanu Neal rumbles 49 yards for a touchdown. 14-7 Florida.
Off the 6 turnovers that's occurred in the game, every single one of them has turned up in points.
Alabama rallies back as Blake Sims completes a 79-yard pass to Amari Cooper for a touchdown. He is free and clear. Look at him go.
You're going to see that quite often this year. Amari Cooper is the best wide receiver in the country.
That's right. Wild play here. Leon Orr forces another Blake Sims fumble. Florida's Dante Fowler eventually recovers that one. Still tied at 14 here.
It was a great play by Orr. He broke through the line of scrimmage, disrupted in the backfield, and now he's got Nick Saban yelling at old Blake Sims.
Nick Saban is very mad. Blake Sims looking better, though, here. He completes a 2-yard touchdown pass to Jalston Fowler, making it 21-14 Bama.
Blake Sims 17 for 23 on the day with 3 touchdown passes. He's played well.
And here we've got Driscoll with a 14-yard rushing touchdown. 21 even right now. All right, well, that's good. It was good so far. Like I said, sloppy but good.
Sloppy but good. And again, you know, a lot of the turnovers have resulted in points. I mean,
Yeah.
It's hard. You don't see that all the time.
Which is why I say that for us as viewers, it's exciting. Maybe not for Coach Saban, but it's exciting for the viewers. Let's look at another game. Auburn squeaked by Kansas State 20-14 on Thursday. So, Brady, in a neutral field game between Auburn and Bama, who do you have?
Well, I really felt like Auburn got exposed on Thursday night versus Kansas State. Kansas State plays a simple defense. They weren't really doing much. They don't have quite the same athletes as Auburn does on the offensive side of the football. And for whatever reason, Auburn didn't have any success. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that when they can't run the football, they're not going to be effective in the passing game either. So I think you put them on a neutral field right now, Alabama wins that game 9 times out of 10.
Speaking of not having success, Georgia shut out Troy 66-0, and Sony Michel is this week's Taco Bell MVP. Take a look at those stats there. Obviously, 155 yards, 3 touchdowns. Pretty good. Not to detract from the fact that they were playing Troy. It was sort of like the Falcons-Bucks NFL Thursday night game.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to see Sony getting the majority of the snaps in this case because Todd Gurley got pulled early. So he's able to capitalize and do what most young players need to do is take advantage of the reps that they get.
Yeah, so still a good performance by Georgia, right, despite playing an easy opponent.
Yeah, they did exactly what they were supposed to do.
There you go. All right, that's a nice way to put it. Michigan State is all over Eastern Michigan, 73-14. I don't know who would have predicted that. That's a pretty big spread. Are they the best in the Big Ten?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, their schedule right now kind of proves that. They've handled the games they were supposed to win big, and they have. And I think you look at the way they played Oregon. They hung in there tough in the first half. They kind of let things get out of control in the second half. But by far and away, Michigan State's the best team in the Big Ten, and Connor Cook's probably the best quarterback in the Big Ten as well.
If they have a weakness, because everybody's got an Achilles heel, I'm putting you on the spot here, what is theirs? What do they need to watch out for from what you've seen?
Well, at this point, I think any bumps in the road, they've got to play consistent football along the way. When you look at their schedule in the Big Ten, it's not overly tough. They got past the hard part, which was some of their non-conference games, Oregon in particular. Even though they lost that game, they still played them tough. And I think that's going to get them points, and it's going to show them favor in the playoff committee, which is what this is all about.
Right.
You know, if Michigan State's going to be the team that represents the Big Ten in the end in the playoff committee, they've got to string together some convincing wins. So they're going to have to win big. They're going to have to play solid, sound football throughout the Big Ten schedule.
Speaking of winning big, Texas A&M is up 48-3 versus SMU. What's going on there?
Well, if you look at it from SMU's standpoint, June Jones left the team a few weeks ago at the beginning of the season. So they're a team in a little bit of disarray. And when you look at Texas A&M, Kenny Hill's continued to fill in those big shoes that Johnny Manziel left, and even taking it a step further. Yeah, he's a tremendous player. I'm excited to see what he can do the rest of the season.
In the Brady Quinn rankings, where are you ranking A&M in the SEC?
It's tough. I think they're right up there next to Alabama. And the more experience that Kenny Hill gets, I think I'd feel much more comfortable saying they are the best team in the SEC. But right now, he's still young to me, and they haven't played a bunch of the top talent that you'll see them play later on in the season.
All right, BYU is leading 20-16 versus Virginia. Now, you spoke about Taysom Hill being a Heisman hopeful. How's his performance been?
It's been good so far. You know, in this game, he's rushed for a touchdown, thrown a touchdown. They haven't got as many opportunities. Virginia's done a great job of controlling the clock and time of possession. So I think they're trying to limit the amount of attempts that he gets, something that he'll probably see more and more this season because they do have an explosive offense, and he is extremely good at putting the ball in the end zone when they need to.
What does BYU need to do to make the playoffs?
Well, they've got to win out. I mean, at this point, you can't suffer any losses if you're BYU in this case. So they've got to take every opportunity they can to blow out the teams they should and even find the way of squeaking out some big wins versus tough opponents.
You played at Notre Dame, obviously. I'm stating the obvious. What's it like to play at an independent school?
Well, it can be tough at times because you don't have the ability to kind of, I guess, put pressure on other teams in your conference. You're out there by yourself, so every game matters. Every game, even though it may feel like a non-conference game to you, it plays into the picture of playing for a national championship game, and that's really what it was all about for us. Unfortunately, we never got the opportunity to get there, but I think when you look at Notre Dame, the way their schedule's set up now, kind of aligning with the ACC, it provides them a great opportunity to get there.
All right, good stuff. Remember, everybody, download the CBS Sports app for instant scores, stats, and late-breaking news from all of today's games. You can get it now at cbssportsapp.com. And, of course, stick around because Braden and I will be right back after this commercial break with more. College football halftime show presented by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. I'm Erin Sharoni here with Brady Quinn. Don't forget, guys, we've got SEC Live next week as Arkansas travels to Texas A&M. Live coverage begins at 3:25 on the dot right here on CBSSports.com. Don't miss it. Just to update everybody, it's still 21-all. For the Florida-Alabama game that's still going on. We've also got a monster showdown in the ACC tonight where Clemson looks for revenge as they head to Tallahassee to take on the top-ranked Seminoles. Our College Football Today crew has that preview. Check it out.
Hey, Adam Zucker, Spencer Tillman, and Brian Jones from our College Football Today studios in New York. Our CBSSports.com spotlight tonight shining on the biggest game in the ACC this season. Number 24 Clemson at number 1 Florida State. Of course, late last night, Florida State leadership announcing that Heisman Trophy winner Jameis Winston will now sit the entire game because of his sexually explicit outburst on campus this week. Redshirt sophomore Sean Maguire gets the start. Yet another misstep here for Winston, Spencer, but does FSU get that all-important win tonight?
Well, it's going to be very difficult. If you look at it from a historical standpoint, guys, it's really intriguing. Sean Maguire's got a great challenge. If you look at since 1991, since Florida State joined the ACC, they've only been outscored or at least 10-1 in terms of wins and losses. So Florida State has been dominant, 10 wins versus 1 loss. The quarterback position, it's all about experience. And if you can look at Jameis Winston's numbers here, he has more attempts in the passing department than Sean Maguire does in his entire career. So again, when you look at the role that the quarterback has to play in this contest, I think it's going to be very difficult for Sean Maguire to come in and get a win.
In factor in they haven't had a sustainable running game either. They've dipped in that category. But you look at Clemson, I like the quarterback's cold style. Deshaun Watson, the freshman out there, actually has played better with less opportunities than Stout. Both have engineered 5 touchdown drives But I look at Deshaun Watson, the X factor he brings is that mobility, and they've got some excellent wide receivers, albeit young. Octavius Scott, he is the freshman after about 5'10", and then you elevate to 6'4" with Mr. Williams there. So he's got some excellent talent to work with. Both of these quarterbacks do, but it's going to come down to that defense. I mean, Clemson's defense, they've got some veterans on that side of the ball going up against a veteran offensive line for Florida State.
Real quickly, you mentioned the wide receivers. Rashad Green is the guy that McGuire's got to establish some chemistry to, and if he doesn't do that, then again, that's the first thing that I'm going to be looking for in this contest to see if they can pull off the upset.
Yeah, and see if they can also rattle a guy who hasn't started a game at quarterback since his New Jersey high school days back in 2011. Remember, we're going to be with you Saturday afternoons throughout the season here on College Football Today.
Good stuff from our College Football Today crew, as always. Brady, when we talk about this game, obviously, they mentioned Jameis Winston. We're going to talk about Jameis Winston for a second. You and I spoke about this before the pre-game show when we thought he was just suspended for the half. Now he's suspended the full game. Should he have been suspended for the whole game?
Yeah, I think the punishment fits the crime in this case. Being suspended for a half only allows him the opportunity to come in and be the hero in the end of the game.
Right.
So being able to suspend him for the entire game not only hurts him, but hurts his teammates. And I think that's what's going to affect Jameis most. And on top of it, I think when you look at his comments, what he said, given the fact that he's still under investigation, that's what makes it even more crude. And he just doesn't have the – it's almost like he's going out there with an absent mind when he's doing these things. He's not thinking himself as the Heisman Trophy winner and a national champion. And he should be. He's got to represent his school, himself, his family, all those people much better.
Yeah, and of course, you know, the Heisman takes into account character and the context in which that statement was made, like you just referenced with that open investigation. It's something you got to think a little bit more carefully about. So hopefully having your whole team maybe upset at you because you couldn't perform is something that will make him think twice.
Well, yeah, and it's going to play, you know, bigger in the sense of the actual national playoff is if Florida State loses this game on the account that they didn't have Jameis Winston,
right,
it's going to matter that much more. So it should be interesting to see what happens tonight.
He needs a little bit of pressure. I think it'll get him into shape. All right, what do you expect from Sean McGuire?
Well, I think he's going to be confident and poised. You know, he was the guy who took a lot of the reps for Florida State during the spring when Jameis Winston was playing baseball. So he's got experience in the system. He's obviously gotten reps this week. The funny thing for me is, being that this came out last night that he was going to miss the entire game now, it actually hurts Jimbo Fisher and the team more because he probably could have taken some of those extra reps that Jameis Winston got thinking he was going to play in the second half. Now he's not. So it actually hurts them more suspending him for the full game now than it would have if they did it in the first place.
Right. So it worked out well, perhaps. We'll see. At the end of the day, who wins? Who wins this one?
At the end of the day, I think Florida State still pulls out the win. They're just too athletic on the defensive side of the football. I think Clemson was a better team last year when they played Florida State with Taj Boyd at quarterback. Now, they lost that game 51-14. I don't think this one will get that out of hand, but I do feel Florida State will be able to win this one at home.
All right, well, while we've been chatting away, Alabama took the lead 28-21, so you may be correct in your prediction after all, Mr. Quinn.
I hope so.
All right, that'll do it for us, folks. Remember to keep it right here on CBSSports.com for all the best college football coverage. I'm Aaron Shimroni with Brady Quinn. We'll catch you next time.